me just show you this. So let me do is just make that bigger. I will take my data there and insert not a line chart. What am I doing? Yes, I need a scatter chart. That looks better, doesn't it? Right, so we have got that. Then what I'll do is add on a trend line, which is a linear trend line like so. And again, I'll change the color and I'll also increase the width of it like so. So what are we after here then? Well, what we want to do is find the line that fits the data best. So that means I need to put R squared onto the chart like so, and go in search of the line that fits it best, so where R squared is equal to 1 or as close as possible to it. So I go into my trend line. I'll then choose exponential. R squared is 0.85. Linear 0.9758. Logarithmic 0.677. Polynomial 0.9997, which is really close. And then we have got power, where R squared is equal to 1. So we can see from this then that using the power option gives us a pretty good match because R squared is exactly 1 there. The other thing that you could have done though is gone into polynomial and then played about with this order variable here. At the moment it's set to 2, but if I change that to 3, then R squared becomes 1 like that. So you can play about with things like that. What I'll do though is display the equation, and we have it there. So if we had the value of the distance from the sun in that format, we could plug that into the equation and come out with the orbit. Right, and let me see. We're nearly at the end of today, and I'm going to overrun slightly. I'm very sorry about that, but there's just one more thing that I would like to quickly show you today, and that is Sparklines. Now, a sparkline is a teeny tiny little chart that fits into a single cell that can just help you analyse your data, perhaps. What I'll do is take the data shown here. I will select the sales data. I'll go to Insert, Sparklines. I'll choose the line Sparkline, and I'll place it in the cell right here, D6. So I click on OK, and there's our little sparkline just there. Now, if you want your sparkline to appear bigger, what you can do is select more cells, go to your home menu, and then find the option that tells you how to merge them. There we go, merge and center, like that. So that will make your sparkline still spread across a single cell. It's just that this time your cell is much, much bigger. Now, with your sparkline, you have got different options available for you for what you decide to see on it. You can, for instance, get it to display high points, like that, so they're just displayed there. You can display low points as well, appearing very, very small there. And you can also display other features as well. Now, because the line sparkline can be a little bit hard to see features on at times, what might be useful is if you change it to a column instead, where we get this. And this can be used to just make features like high points and low points spring out a bit more like that. So see where we've got that high point appearing there and a low point appearing right there. Now, something else that can be useful with these is if you want to look for any negative values in the set of cells. You can click on the negative points option there to just highlight those. But another thing you can do is click on the win-loss option. What the win-loss sparkline will do is show any positive values high up and negative values low down. So it's a really useful tool if you just want to scan a set of data for those negative values. we can see here that it is the third value along, which relates to that third row of -50. Now, as well as using Sparklines for a single set of data, you can have a group of Sparklines, and these work really well for tables. To set one up, you go to your table, you select your data, in this case the columns January through to May. You go to Insert, you choose your Sparklines here, and I'm going to choose a line one like that. And when it asks you where to place it, we can put it at the end of the table, going across all those rows like so. So it puts that in for us. We click on OK, and there we have our little Sparklines. Now, these Sparklines will individually show us what the shape of each row's data is like. But again, it's useful to use them for looking for negative values. We simply change it to a win-loss, and then we choose the option to highlight negative points. And then when we look at our Sparkline group, we can see that we've got that little negative value there popping out at us on that third row, and it's in the first position of that row as well. So that then is a brief whirlwind introduction to using Sparklines and how they can be used. We've seen that a Sparkline is just a teeny tiny chart that's displayed in a single cell. You can use it to see trends, you can see high and low points, and it's pretty useful if you want to find out where your positive and negative values are. You've also got Sparkline groups as well, which work well with tables. Right, so I did have an exercise on Sparklines at this point, but as we have gone over time, I think that I'm going to ask you to just go through that in your own time. The solution will be available to you, and so we have come to the end. So, a quick summary of what we have covered today then. Well, we started off with the very basics and looked at why we might want to use a chart in the first place. We went through some of the most common types of chart. We looked at how to modify them. We looked at some of the less common types of chart as well, things like the histograms and sunbursts, and had a brief foray into the pivot charts too. We then looked at how you can add in extra data series and handle missing data points. We looked at various things to do with trend lines, and then right at the very end, we took a sneaky look at how you can use Sparklines to find out things about your data. Where should you go from here? Primarily, we've covered a lot of ground, and to make that knowledge your own, you really need to just experiment and play about with it. You've got all